Hi, my name's Owen, and I'm here to discuss my design idea, which was a fact checker tool for students to assess the reliability of sources they come across on the internet. So the basic idea stems from Grammarly and other tools that students use online to help them with their schoolwork. And this tool would work in a similar way. It would probably be a browser extension or something similar that students would use to look at articles, and it would give them an overall reliability rating of the article. So it would point out parts that are biased, maybe incorrect claims, anything that would be troubling for the student to know. And so one of the main questions that we came across when discussing this idea was, why would students actually need this? Basically, aren't these skills taught to students enough? Aren't they good enough at this already? It should be taught in school. So how good are students at this? And basically, we found a research study that partially helps to answer this question. And so this research study was done on a student's ability to assess reliable sources. It built upon previous research that found that students struggle with this. They aren't very good at navigating the internet. And basically the purpose of this study was to figure out why students struggle so much in this aspect. So the method they used was a simple pre-test and post-test. So something like this one on the left would be an example of the types of questions they were given on the test. They were given questions about ad reliability, about claim recognition, and just all related to assessing the reliability of a particular source. And in this case, it would be a post. And so there were 8 lessons that they were given in between the pre-test and the post-test. And it was given to an 11th grade history class of, I believe, about 68 students. And so the results show that there was no improvement in ad identification, which is interesting. But however, there were improvements in lateral reading, evidence analysis, and claim research. And these are all very important areas to examine when you're assessing the reliability of a source. But obviously, ad identification would be a big, important factor. If we were to implement that into this tool, it would have to be pretty heavily stressed. Now, some of the limitations of the experiments was that only 68 students were participated, and it was from one class, so one history class. There was no control group, so there was nobody that wasn't in the history class taking these tests, and there was nobody that wasn't taught in between the tests how to improve their score. But there was previous research done that has shown enough information that students are pretty bad at examining the reliability of a source. And so the other limitation is that students were given parallel forms of the same pre-test and post-test. And basically, if I go back to this slide, the one on the left would have been an example of what students were given at the pre-test, and the one on the right is an example what they would have been given at post-test. Now, half of the students in the class during the pre-test would have gotten the one on the left, and then half of the students during the post-test, half of the students during the pre-test would have gotten the one on the right. And in the post-test, they would have flip-flopped those positions. So basically, students could have shared answers or talked about the tests, and that could have skewed the results. But what this all means is that nonetheless, students still struggle to navigate information on the internet, and they struggle a pretty good amount. There's not enough emphasis on this in schools. Clearly, in high school, they don't really focus on this enough to get us ready for college. And basically, this tool would help make things a lot easier for students, even teachers who don't need to teach a crazy amount of research analysis. And it would help students learn and build their skills in this area, and it would also prevent them from getting bad grades over something that they don't really have much control over because they didn't learn it that well. And, so there's definitely a need for this tool out there. Students really tend to struggle in this area. They tend to do well when they're learning about these things, but personally, I don't think there's enough emphasis on this in the schools and in classrooms, and there's definitely a need for a tool to make things easier for both the students and the teachers, and I think that this would be a pretty easy idea for students to get along with, and hopefully a lot of students would want to use this tool to help them get better grades at school. Thank you.